This is Radio Taiwan International.
Welcome to the news on Radio Taiwan International. I'm Phyllis Koski coming to you from Taipei, Taiwan. We begin with a look at today's top stories for Thursday, December 18th. U.S. Senate passes defense bill boosting U.S.-Taiwan drone cooperation. U.S. clears record $11.1 billion arms package for Taiwan, and Taiwan's foreign minister visits Palau to advance allies' prosperity plan. But first, today's top story. The U.S. Senate on Wednesday passed the compromise version of the National Defense Authorization Act, known as NDAA, after the House of Representatives approved it on December 10th. The legislation, totaling $900.6 billion, now heads to President Donald Trump for sign-in. The bill authorizes $1 billion for the Taiwan Security Cooperation Initiative, aimed at strengthening Taiwan's defense capabilities in response to increasing Chinese coercion. It also directs the Pentagon to develop joint unmanned and counter-unmanned systems programs with Taiwan, focusing on research, development, and production within the framework of the Taiwan Relations Act. Republican Senator John Curtis said the legislation reflects an evolving security environment and ensures the United States is prepared to deter adversaries such as China and Russia, while also reinforcing key alliances, including with Taiwan. The bill also calls for expanded U.S.-Taiwan Coast Guard training from fiscal years 2026 to 2030 to enhance maritime security and law enforcement's capacity. The National Defense Authorization Act further requires the submission of a long-term Taiwan Security Assistance Roadmap outlining defense needs and exploring the creation of a regional contingency stockpile to support Taiwan. It also incorporates the Taiwan Non-Discrimination Act, reaffirming U.S. support for Taiwan's participation in the International Monetary Fund. Taiwan's Defense Ministry said Thursday that a United States arms sales package to Taiwan worth $11.1 billion is expected to formally take effect in about 1 month. The ministry said the U.S. government completed congressional notification procedures late Wednesday for 8 proposed arms sales cases, marking the largest single U.S. weapons package ever announced for Taiwan. The deals are subject to a congressional review period, after which they are expected to be processed as planned. According to the Defense Ministry, the packages included Taiwan Tactical Network and Tactical Awareness Kit, AH-1W helicopter spare and repair parts, M109A7 self-propelled howitzers, follow-on purchases of the HIMARS artillery system, TOW missiles, anti-armor UAV missile systems, follow-on purchases of Javelin missiles, and inspection and refurbishment of repairable components for Harpoon missiles. The ministry said 5 of the items, the howitzers, HIMARS systems, TOW missiles, anti-armor, and Javelin missiles, are part of a special defense budget aimed at strengthening defense resilience and expanding Taiwan's asymmetric warfare capabilities. In a statement, the ministry said the U.S., in accordance with the Taiwan Relations Act and the 6 assurances, continues to assist Taiwan in maintaining sufficient self-defense capabilities and in rapidly building robust deterrent forces, which it said form the foundation for regional peace and stability. Foreign Minister Lin Jialong on Thursday led a trade and economic delegation to Palau as part of Taiwan's diplomatic allies' prosperity plan, aimed at deepening cooperation and encouraging greater Taiwanese investment in the Pacific ally. The visit also includes preparation for Taiwan's participation in the Pacific Islands Forum, which Palau will host in 2026. The delegation, including representatives from Taiwan's tourism, healthcare, and sustainable energy industries, seeks to review progress made under the Comprehensive Diplomacy Network and explore new investment opportunities. The Foreign Ministry said the goal is to strengthen bilateral economic exchanges and support Palau in building economic resilience. Foreign Ministry spokesperson Xiao Guangwei said the government will continue to implement the Prosperity Project through integrated diplomacy, leveraging Taiwan's economic strengths to deepen ties with its allies and like-minded partners. He said, "We will leverage our economic advantages through a comprehensive diplomatic strategy while deepening partnerships with friendly and like-minded nations." Lin noted that Palau President Surangul Whips Jr. visited Taiwan in May, following Lin's attendance at his inauguration in January as special envoy. He said the two sides' close exchanges in tourism, medical innovation, and sustainability show shared commitment to turning cooperation into tangible results, realizing the goal of shared prosperity between Taiwan and Palau. A Hong Kong court has convicted media tycoon Jimmy Lai on national security and sedition charges, a ruling widely seen as a test of press freedom under Beijing's rule.
A Hong Kong court on Monday convicted media tycoon Jimmy Lai on national security and sedition charges in a closely watched case widely seen as a test of press freedom and judicial independence under Beijing's rule. The High Court found the 78-year-old Lai guilty of 2 counts of colluding with foreign external forces to endanger national security and 1 count of conspiracy to publish seditious materials. Sentencing will follow mitigation hearings scheduled for January 12th. Lai, who is a British citizen, faces a possible life sentence and has already spent more than 1,800 days in detention. Lai is the founder of the now shuttered Apple Daily, a pro-democracy tabloid that was forced to close in 2021 after authorities froze its assets under the Beijing-imposed national security law. Prosecutors accused Lai of using the newspaper and his international contacts to call for sanctions against Hong Kong and China. Judges said Lai acted as the, quote, mastermind behind the alleged conspiracies and ruled that his actions showed intent to undermine the Chinese Communist Party. Much of the conduct cited by prosecutors occurred before the national security law took effect in 2020. The verdict drew swift condemnation from media and rights groups. The Committee to Protect Journalists called it a, quote, sham conviction, while Amnesty International said the law has become a tool to silence dissent and poses legal risks for journalists and businesses. International criticism followed. The European Union said the case was politically motivated and renewed calls for Lai's immediate and unconditional release. Chris Patten, Hong Kong's last British governor, said the ruling showed Beijing was violating commitments under the Sino-British Joint Declaration. Meanwhile, Hong Kong Chief Executive John Lee welcomed the verdict, saying Lai used media platforms to incite hatred and invite foreign sanctions. The case has become a symbol of Hong Kong's post-2020 transformation, with critics saying it's marked a sharp decline in the city's long-held freedom and rule of law. Joey Chow for RTI News.
A bubble tea shop in Czechia is the most recent target of Chinese netizens for their pro-Taiwan post. Taiwanese netizens are stepping in to counter their negative reviews.
A beverage shop in Prague, Czechia provides customers bubble tea made with authentic imported Taiwanese ingredients, becoming a tourist hotspot. It has attracted negative reviews from Chinese netizens, however, who have taken offense at the shop's pro-Taiwan post. Lu Ti took to social media to share students gifted them ribbons reading Taiwanese who value democracy and freedom and strong and independent Taiwan soul. The ribbons were pictured in front of a sweatshirt with the words, "We support Taiwan." Lu Ti owner Thomas Din says that the shop has received around 5 to 10 politically charged negative reviews over the past few years, but the number jumped to over 15 in one day once Chinese netizens caught wind of the post. Din says his shop doesn't support Taiwan in a particularly high-profile or aggressive way, so he doesn't find the strong response justified. He says he doesn't regret how it happened, though, because Taiwanese netizens have countered the negative reviews with their own 5-star ratings and messages of support. Tristan Hildebrand for RTI News.
President Lai Ching-te attended the Indigenous liaison meeting this Wednesday as DPP chairperson, which gathered conveners from 63 Indigenous liaison stations across Taiwan to exchange views on the direction of policy, grassroots organizations, and future election campaigns. Lai said the stations act as bridges between Indigenous communities and political parties and that the government will continue to assist them in expanding and connecting. The president underlined diversity and respect as part of the DPP's core principles and encouraged Indigenous talent to participate in politics and continue promoting progressive and pragmatic policies. In a press release, the DPP stated that it has long valued the rights and equality of Indigenous peoples and that it is committed to promoting Indigenous policies on an institutional basis. The party hopes to gather grassroots opinions, strengthen future plans, and enhance cooperation with the stations through this meeting. Thanks for joining me for the news. I'm Phil Leskowski. Stay tuned for another 50 minutes of English language features brought to you by Radio Taiwan International.